All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Pariah by W. Michael Geer. This is book number 3 in his 6-book epic space opera / horror novel series called The Donovan. This is book number 3. We've got all 6 books right here in the series. I have previously read and reviewed book number 1, Abandoned, and book number 2, Outpost. If you want to watch those book reviews before you get into this one, just type in my last name into your YouTube search bar and then type in Outpost or Abandoned into your YouTube search bar, and by some sort of trickery and sorcery, those book reviews will magically appear upon your television screen. I promise you. Anyway, we're to book number 3, Pariah. Let's talk about the cover, because you know I love graphic design and cover art. Cover illustration is one of my favorite things. This one's dope. I love this. Dynamite. This one is done by the artist Steve Stone. Maybe if you watched my book review of Midnight Tides by Steven Erikson that I just did a couple days ago, that book was also illustrated by Steve Stone. Just saying, he's out there doing some kick-ass illustrations, and he did the illustrations for I think all of these books, and they all look good. I mean, the whole series of books just looks dope on the shelf. I mean, look at how, even when you put the spines all together like this, they all look like they belong in a series. So good job to the publisher for creating a wonderful series that looks nice on the shelf. So anyway, let's here's the thing. W. Michael Geer. I've met W. Michael Geer before. Let me see here. I've got some of his books signed. Anyway, trust me, if you've watched some of my W. Michael Geer book reviews before, you know that I've got a lot of his books signed. These I don't have signed, but trust me, they're signed. I try to meet all of my favorite authors and get my book signed if I can. Anyway, here's the thing. What is the Donovan series about? Donovan is a planet. It's a planet far, far, far away from Earth. In this series, people from Earth have branched out into the galaxy to find different stars that have planets that we can live on, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they found a bunch. One of them is Donovan. But it's sort of been forgotten because the first people that went to Donovan, they got stranded on this planet. And this planet is a horror show of just crazy things that will kill you. Like the plants will come alive and kill you. The rocks will come alive and kill you. There's these monsters that are kind of like dinosaur-esque that are called Quetzals. They will kill you. In fact, not only that, but they're kind of like a movie Alien. They will face suck you and put different things in your body, and then you're a Quetzal. Okay, the planet is a horror show. That's why I introduced the whole series as a space opera / horror series, because that's really what it is. Now, in this book particularly, that's the basis of the whole series. Now, the Donovan has got a group of stranded people living on it and trying to make it their home. They've got these communities. And then in the first couple books, we get a starship that comes to Donovan, and then we get the starship people that come down onto Donovan and try to integrate themselves into society. That stuff goes ass over teapot pretty quickly. And then the starship is stranded. So now we've got 2 groups of people stranded on Donovan. And the people of Earth don't really realize that Donovan, well, they know that Donovan exists, but they don't realize that people are stranded out there. So they send a 3rd mission out to Donovan. And that's where this book starts, with a group of new characters. The first one being Tamerlan Bantine. And he is a new character to the series. He's what is called a corporate assassin. But he's not a good guy. He's on the run from the law. So he sort of stows away on this starship that's headed to Donovan. And sort of, well, he's not really stowed away. He has a job. He's got a purpose. He's kind of finagled him. He's kind of like one of those guys that just finagles themselves into so he's kind of part of the leadership of I said stowaway. Well, he does stow away as part of the leadership of this starship, but they end up going to Donovan, and of course, they don't know. They think they're going to a planet that has nobody on it, or they don't really know what they're going to find when they get there. They don't realize that already 2 starships have already been sucked into the Donovan's orbit and horror show, and people are already dealing with it. But once they get there, of course, they meet all of our regular characters from the first 2 books, namely of which is Talina. She is on the Donovan planet from the get-go. In fact, she was the first character we meet ever in the story. She has been one of those people that's had the Quetzals kind of get in her body, and so now she's half human, half Quetzal. And so we've got that series. We've got the young girl, Kylie, who's probably one of my favorite characters. Now, Kylie has this kind of she can like kind of make friends with the enemy, the creepy, crawly things that are on the planet. She kind of keeps them as pets. So she's got, and so then we kind of see these what is normally a horror show creature through the eyes of the young girl who sees them as her pet. And so we got that kind of stuff. And it just, once this new starship reaches the Donovan, of course, everything, I'll read the jacket just because it's always better if I read the jacket for a couple reasons. It gives away no spoilers, and it explains the book way better than I can. But that's if I can read it, because I'm not a very good reader, out loud reader. So, corporate assassin Tamerlan Bantine's last hope is the survey ship Vixen, with a load of scientists aboard under the supervision of Dr. Dortmund Wasbacher. Vixen is tasked with first comprehensive survey of the newly discovered planet called Donovan. Given that back in the solar system, Boardmaster Radkick would have Bantine's brain dissected, he's particularly motivated to make his escape. In other words, I read that like shit, but in other words, he's got to escape Earth on this starship. The transition would have taken Vixen years, but it's instantaneous this time. That's another thing. They've got this light speed travel, but it's really weird mathematics and algebra and calculus. And so normally when they light speed travel, it takes years, but this light speed travel is instantaneous. And it freaks everybody out on the ship, because how did we get here so fast? Okay? So, this light speed travel of the Vixen is instantaneous. The spaceship is automatically orbiting Donovan, and impossibly, human settlements, they find out, have already been established on the planet, which confuses them even more. They're like, how did we get here so fucking fast, and why is there already people here? This is a mystery. So, for the crew of this ship, this is a violation of the most basic tenets of science and conservatism, somehow. They find out that Donovan is an ecological disaster. It really is. If you read these books, it really is. Down on Donovan, Talina Perez takes refuge in the ruins of Mundo Base with the wild child Kylie. But the Quetzals are playing their own deadly game. The Quetzals are the horror show that lives on Donovan. And that forces Talina and Kylie to flee further into the wilderness. But too bad, because they're kind of stuck with the people from this new starship, too. Anyway, back in the main base of... and I'm paraphrasing this last paragraph because I know I can't read it because it's got a lot of words that I don't understand. So back in the main base back in the main settlement on Donovan, we've got this bad character named Dan Worth, who is kind of like the bad guy throughout the series, and he's doing his own baddie things in the main settlement. And that's kind of the gist of this book without giving away spoilers. Book number 3. The series just keeps getting better and better. And you know that I've been giving each one of these books a 10 out of 10 or something like that. So this one certainly gets a 10 out of 10. It's just that good. The series is dope. If you love science fiction and you love horror and you love monsters